Hello, and welcome to Inspire, the IBPC video podcast where we sit down with people whose journeys remind us what's possible when determination meets purpose. I'm your host, Ramesh Mahalingam, and today's guest is someone who has touched the lives of thousands of families in the UAE, including many of our IBPC members. He came to the UAE in 1974 with just $8 in his pocket. Today, he is the owner of Delhi private school Sharjah in Dubai. Please join me in welcoming educationist, entrepreneur, and mentor to a generation, Mr. Dinesh Kothari. Dinesh ji, thank you for being here. I'm especially excited about this conversation because of the fact that so many families have been touched by you.
Thank you, Ramesh. To start with, I must congratulate you for this wonderful initiative that we are doing. It's a pleasure to always have conversation about what we are contributing back to the society.
Let's start with your early life in Jodhpur, Rajasthan. What were the values from your childhood that have stayed with you till now?
Let me start by saying where I come from. From Jodhpur, of course. I come from a middle-class family. My grandfather, my father, they all were government servants. What we had emphasis in the family was education. So my uncle at that time was IIT graduate from Kharagpur. My sister did PhD. So the values were very clear that you have to educate yourself. And what surrounded us was these things that you saw. Every member of the family had to be educated. I mean, there was no family business. So that was emphasis, and that's what I grew up around me. And that's where I started my values. And when you come from middle-class family, the biggest thing is the value for money. Family values. We all ate together. We always played together. We lived in like a joint family. So there was tremendous sense of belongingness. And that's what has stayed till date with me, that unless until we are together, you learn to live together. And then you value things, because when you are in a family where you're from middle class and government servant, you don't have opulence. What you have is best value for whatever you have, and make best use of it. And that's what I learned all my life. And that's what stays with me till today.
That's wonderful to hear. These are values that all of us can imbibe and be reminded of constantly. And then in 1974, you came to the UAE with all of $8. Today is probably going to buy you one kadak chai and maybe a samosa at best. Can you paint a picture for us as to what you saw back then, and what made you believe that you could build your life here?
You see, I was, after I qualified as chartered accountant, I had a job in Mumbai, ICICI Limited. It was a development bank at that time. I was unmarried. I stayed as a paying guest. Life was good. Then I got married. I was still happy because I had a wonderful job. It was one of the best jobs one can think of in India. But as the family person, you realize your responsibilities are growing, means are limited.
Yes.
And I had job offers within India. People approached me. And I said, look, if I do change a job, I'll like to go abroad, because that's when probably I can make some money, earn more money than what I'm getting, and give a better life and have a better family life, so to say. Luck would have it. Mr. Bukhatir was starting a joint venture with an Indian group, Kalpataru. And they approached me and said, we are starting a joint venture. Would you like to come? I was very skeptical. I will be very honest. I was not sure, because at that time Dubai was not what it is today.
Right.
It had a different reputation as well. So first I declined. I said, I want to go abroad, but certainly not there. And they called me again and said, look, why don't you do one thing? Why don't you go for a while? Take a shot. If you like, fine. If you don't like, then you can always come back.
Oh, okay.
So I took 3 months leave from ICICI and I came here. Rest is history. And I never went back. So what I came here for was very clear. It was to provide better economic look after for the family and for children. I had no business and no idea that I'll ever get into business because that was not what my family was into. I didn't come from that background. I came here and initially there were a lot of hesitations. I wasn't overly joyed because the job that I had in ICICI was of different type. I was in project appraisal department and working with World Bank affiliate ICICI, project appraisal, project financing. It was a different ball game altogether. And when I found after 6 months that this is not what I want to do, at one point I thought of going back.
Oh.
And I said, before I go back, let me go and talk to my chairman and tell him what's my problem. So I went and spoke to him. And I said, look, Mr. Kothari, I don't like what I do. This is my background. This is what I've come from. I come from this sort of family. I worked in ICICI, project financing, project appraisal. Running a construction company is not my cup of tea. So he said, okay, I understand what you want to do and what you're good at. And the group was growing that time, and they had few projects coming up. So he gave me responsibility to put together a loan application for one of the projects. The loan went through. It was Citibank who were funding us that project, and they went back to Mr. Kothari and said, what sort of guy have you got? I mean, we are not used to reading 100 pages of loan application. We give on your guarantee. But that's what gave me the start, and I enjoyed. And then, of course, I stayed with the group for 13, 14 years, as you know.
Wonderful. So those were the days of name lending, and you moved the bank to professional lending. And we're glad you stayed on, Dinesh ji. I would even add we are relieved that you stayed on to build such an educational empire. Now, in Kothari, you were already climbing the corporate ladder fast.
Right.
And at the age of 28, you were already CEO of this conglomerate, Kothari Group.
Right.
What made you shift to entrepreneurship and later to education? Was it from within, or did life nudge you along?
The later part, life nudged me around. It so happened, just as you're right, I had a wonderful job. I had a wonderful career. I was growing up fast. It so happened one of the days when my son was about, I think, 8 or 10 years old, and his friends called him to play. We lived in a compound with 4 or 5 villas. And he said, no, today evening I can't come to play because I've got guests at home. And the guests were my parents. And that point I decided that if grandparents are guests, then my being CEO, my making money is meaningless. So when I went and told Mr. Kothari that I'd give you 1 year's notice, find my replacement, I told my wife that I like to at least shift children to India. I shifted partially, family shifted there. I used to go backwards and forwards. And I started investment banking because I was good at it. I thought so. Yeah. Because I knew loan appraisals, loan arrangements.
We called it merchant banking.
Merchant banking. Yeah? So I had a license for merchant banking, which I took. And touch wood, it went off very well. We got good mandates for IPOs. We got good mandates for loan syndication. So it went on for a few years. And because I had a base in Middle East, so that time NRI investment was a big thing.
Yeah.
So any IPO out of India needed funds from NRIs. So I would say almost any issue, large issue which came, public issue, those managers would come to me and say, look, can you help us? And it going was good. So that's what got me into entrepreneurship as a merchant banker. Yes.
Very well. But then what made you start DPS Sharjah and later DPS Dubai?
Okay, before I started DPS Sharjah, I set up a school in Jodhpur, which is my hometown. Institution set up in memory of my late grandfather, who was educationist. When he came back from Lahore after education, he started working as a teacher for a short while before he joined government service. So that is run by a charitable trust in memory of my late grandfather. We have 5,000 students there.
Wow.
It's a large school. Ran it for 2-3 years and realized it was an interesting model. And that's because roots here were always Sharjah.
Yeah.
So I said, why not think of doing a project in Sharjah? So I set up the first school in Sharjah. That was more, I would say, by accident than by design. My Jodhpur school was also by accident because I never thought of doing that. I don't know if you know D.R. Mehta.
Yes, of course. Jaipur foot
Jaipur
fame.
foot fame. So he told me that you've done well for yourself, but you've not given back anything to society. And I told him that the only thing I like to do is something that will touches everybody's life. I'll not do something which is community-centric. I will not do something for Jain community or Agarwal community, but I like to do something which is for all. And as we were talking, I mentioned to him that if at all, this is what I like to do. And he was chairman of one of the trusts which had a building, which ran a school but wasn't doing well. So he told me, and he called the trustees and said, why don't you rent out the building to him? So I took that building on rent. And after 3 years, we moved in our own campus, which is about 15-acre campus now in Jodhpur. But that experience gave me the confidence that I could do a school in Sharjah, which was my work ground where I built my career.
Yes.
And after 3 years, we realized we had done well. Then Jebel Ali Properties that time were building gardens. And they had 2 plots for school. So they invited me and said, would you like to do a school in... I said, of course. So second plot they gave to Mr. Varki, James Group, where they got British curriculum, and we did the Indian curriculum school. Okay. So that's how the Dubai school came in.
And then 4 schools followed thereafter.
Then 4 schools followed because then we got the experience, we got the confidence, and then we diversified into British curriculum schools. And those are homegrown brands, Victory Heights Primary School, Southview, and we are doing 2 more campuses, as you know, right now.
Every journey has its tests. Can you share one challenge in your early days that would have made you question the path?
The biggest challenge in setting up a school is real estate, and the investment is large. Payback is slow. So after 2 years, when the cash flow was tight, I started wondering, did I do the right thing? But we kept on it, tried to manage the costs rather than increase the fees. And after 3 years, we realized that we had to find the solutions rather than worry about the problems. So yes, there were challenges of costs, but other than that...
Sail through,
yeah.
And a moment that might have made you feel, yes, this is worth every ounce of it?
100%. What makes you feel every ounce of it is when you walk in the corridors of the school and you see these little children and young children running all over the place. The amount of energy they generate is phenomenal. And that's the time you realize that, yes, it's worth your life. Not the worth money, but it's worth your life. You see the spark in their eyes when the child learns to write the first letter A. And when you see that happening, and I interact with the teachers and as well as students on a regular basis. And that gave me a phenomenal satisfaction that what we were doing was right way and right, I won't call it business, but a right path.
Yeah.
That we are here to affect and improve so many lives.
So today, with the thousands of children and many of our IBPC members' children for that matter, what principle really guides you to lead these institutions?
I won't say there's one, there are always a few. One important thing that we keep in mind is ethos. We don't compromise on that. Number 2, we invest a lot of money on the teachers' training programs. Because at the end of the day, it's not the building which provides the quality of education. It's the teachers. They are the soul of the school. So we spend and invest, I won't say spend, we invest a lot of money on teachers' CPD, continuous professional development. Third, we need to make sure our economics work, but we are not necessarily driven by profit. So we want to make sure the fees are affordable and that we are very proud of that at our fee level, we are able to provide this quality of education. So ethos, resilience, values, and that's what you inculcate down the road from top to bottom.
Nice. These are values that everybody could, these are principles rather, that everybody could identify with and hopefully practice. Dineshji, we've heard how you built these institutions and what drove you to do it. But the real heart of the story is yet to come. In our next episode, we will explore your philosophy on education, the qualities that you believe every child should have, and your message to the IBPC community. Trust me, you will want to hear this. It's advice that could change how you think about success, family, and legacy. Part 2 drops in a few days. Stay tuned.